సాయిరామ్. మరికొద్దిసేపట్లో ప్రశాంతి నిలయంలోని సాయి కుల్వంత్ సభామండపం నుండి ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారాలను మీరు వింటారు. దయచేసి వేచి ఉండండి.
Sairam, dear listeners, live broadcast of the proceedings from the Sai Kulwant Hall at Prasanthi Nilayam will follow shortly. Please stay tuned.
సాయిరామ్. మరికొద్దిసేపట్లో ప్రశాంతి నిలయంలోని సాయి కుల్వంత్ సభామండపం నుండి ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారాలను మీరు వింటారు. దయచేసి వేచి ఉండండి.
गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुत ते नमः या तैषु शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवा शरव्याया तव दयानो रुद्रमृडया या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोर पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिजाकशीः यामिषुं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे शिवां गिरित्रतां कुरु माहि गुंसीः पुरुषं जगत शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत अद्य वोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक अहीकुश्च सर्वान् जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः ये चेमागुं रुद्र अभितो दिक्षु श्रुता सहस्रशो वैशागुं एडयीमहे असव्यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतैनं विश्वा भूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानोऽहं तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोरात्नियोर्ज्याम् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वपा अवतत्य धनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षशतेषु ते निषेल्य शल्यानां मुखा शिवो न सुमना भव विज्यं धनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निसङ्गतिः याते हेतिर्मेढुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुत ते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशाञ्च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्लुषाय व्याधिनेन्नानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथा विने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्थपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवत्कृताय औषधीनां पतये नमो नम उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवेताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय व्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे स्थेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिण इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः श्रिकाविभ्यो जिघागुं सद्भ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमोऽसिमद्भ्यो न कञ्चरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नमः उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्यो अश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमः व्याधिनेभ्यो विविध्यन्तेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः उगणाभ्यस्त्रिगुंहतेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गृत्सेभ्यो गृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो महद्भ्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः सङ्ग्रहीतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षद्भ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः इषुकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिविष्टाय च नमो मेढुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षेयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नमः आशवे चाजिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शेभ्याय च नमः ऊर्ण्याय चावस्वन्याय च नमः श्रोतस्याय च द्वीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय चापरजाय च नमो मध्यमाय चापगल्भाय च नमो जगन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः शोभ्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय चावसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्षाय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय चाशुरथाय च नमः शूराय चावभिन्नते च नमो वर्विणे च वरुथिने च नमो बिल्विने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो धृष्णवे च प्रवृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिणे चेषुधिमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णे शवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पथ्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सूद्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कोप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईध्रियाय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च ॐ हर 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 ॐ नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमः ताम्राय च रुणाय च नमः शृङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयो भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः वार्याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आचार्याय च लाध्याय च नमः षष्प्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नमः इरिन्याय च प्रपथ्याय च नमः हिगुंशिलाय च क्षयणाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च गृह्याय च नमः तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गक्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः ऊर्व्याय च सूर्म्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशद्याय च नमोपगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नमः आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नमः आनिर्हतेभ्यो नमः आमिवत्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणाम् येषां पशूनां माभेर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चनाममत् या ते रुद्रशिवा तनु शिवा विश्वाह भेषजे शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजे तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वेराय प्रवरामहे मतिम् यथा नः शमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृधि क्षयद्वेराय नमसा विधेमते यच्छञ्चयोश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदश्याम तव रुद्र प्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भकं मान उक्षन्तमुतमान उक्षितम् मानो वधे पितरं मोतमातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोकेतनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वधेर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्न उत पूरुषग्ने क्षयद्वेराय सुम्नमस्मेते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देव ब्रूयथा च न शर्म यच्छद्विबर्हाः स्तुति श्रुतं गत्तसदं युवानं मृगन्न भीममुपहत्नुमुग्रम् मृडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निव पन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतिर्पृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरघायोः अवस्थिरामघवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमेध्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडया मेढुष्टम शिवतम शिवो न सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्तिं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विगिरिध विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुं हेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निव पन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रधा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचेनामुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्या तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसे अस्मिन् महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवा शितिकण्ठा शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवा शितिकण्ठा दिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासक्कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पथां पथिरक्षय ऐलभृदायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सुखावन्तो निषङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसे नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नं वातो वर्षमिषवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणादश प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु तेयं विष्मो यश्च नो त्वेष्टितं भोजं वेदधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नव्यो अप्सुय ओषधेषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु ये ते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्यो मर्त्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वान् वयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि तमुष्टुहि यस्विषुत्सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशौ मनसाय रुद्रं नमो बिर्देवमसुरं दुवस्य अयं मे हस्तो भगवानयं मे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्ववेशयो यगुं शिवाभिमर्शनः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रं च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणं च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वं च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रं च मे सोश्च मे प्रसोश्च मे सेरं च मे लयश्च मरुतं च मे मृतं च मे यक्ष्मं च मे नामयच्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वं च मे नमित्रं च मे भयं च मे सुगं च मे शयनं च मे सुषा च मे सुदिनं च मे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ अत्रिणा त्वा कृमे हन्मि कण्वेन जमदग्निना विश्वावसोर्ब्रह्मणा हतः कृमीणागुं राजा अप्येषागस्थपतिर्हतः अथो माताथो पिता अथो स्थूरा अथो क्षुद्रा अथो कृष्णा अथो श्वेता अथो आशातिका हताः श्वेताभिः सह सर्वे हताः आहरावद्या श्रुतस्य हविषो यथा तत्सत्यम् यदमुह्यमस्य जम्भयोः आदधामि तथा हि तत् खण्फण्मसि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः पुरुषस्य विद्मसहस्राक्षस्य महादेवस्य धीमहि तन्नो रुद्र प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्र प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ति प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे चक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो नन्दिः प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महासेनाय धीमहि तन्नः षण्मुखः प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे सुवर्णपक्षाय धीमहि तन्नो गरुडः प्रचोदयात् वेदात्मनाय विद्महे हिरण्यगर्भाय धीमहि तन्नो ब्रह्म प्रचोदयात् नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात् वज्रनखाय विद्महे तीक्ष्णदग्गुष्ट्राय धीमहि तन्नो नारसिंहः प्रचोदयात् भास्कराय विद्महे महद्युतिकराय धीमहि तन्नो आदित्यः प्रचोदयात् वैश्वानराय विद्महे लालीलाय धीमहि तन्नो अग्निः प्रचोदयात् कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गिः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ति प्रचोदयात् स्वाक्षामद्देवो अतिदुरितात्यग्निः रत्नोषिकमीढ्यो अध्वरेषु सनाक्षहोता नव्यस्य सत्सि स्वाञ्चाग्ने तनुवं पिप्रयस्वास्मभ्यञ्जसो भगमाय जस्वा गोभिर्जुष्टमयुजो निषिक्तं तवेन्द्र विष्णोरनुसञ्चरेम नागस्य पृष्ठमपि संवसानो वैष्णवीं लोकैहमादयन्ताम् कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारी धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गिः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om Shri Sai Ram. The class 10 students of Srimati Eswaramma High School offer their loving pranams at the lotus feet of our Lord. Respected elders, parents, and all the devotees gathered here, a very warm welcome to all. It is said, when the heart is full, the tongue becomes silent. Today, we come here to the sacred center of our lives to pause, to ponder, and to pray before we take the next steps in our lives. We pause to count our numerous blessings. Swami, you gave us a school that gave us an identity. You gave us teachers and elders that radiate your love. They carry a bit of you in them. We ponder over the lessons that we have learned. Thy word, dear Lord, is a lamp and a light to our paths. We pray that this bond of love that you have nurtured grows strong and intense until we become a reflection of you.
Something special
name was announced, like all my friends, I too sat down to think of what I am grateful for. I found that the list was endless. So I decided instead to make a list of those things that had to be excluded from the list. But there was nothing left to write in that list, because all the sad happenings in my life have taught me powerful lessons. All the happy moments have made me feel your love for me. So, in prayerful gratitude, I ask this of you. Just as the fragrance cannot be separated from the flower, the light cannot be distinct from the sun. In my life, let my thoughts, words, and deeds never be disassociated from you, Swami.
Dearest Swami, as a young child, I was often told by my parents and teachers that you always know what is best for us and also the right time to grant us our wishes. Though I never really understood what this meant at first, my experience taught me the meaning. It was in my 5th standard that a small group of girls were being selected to form a bhajan group, and I, however, was not able to secure a place in the group because of my nervousness. I remember crying and questioning you silently in my heart as to why I was unable to overcome my nervousness. And then, 3 years later, in my 8th standard, I was given the opportunity to give the commentary for our annual sports and cultural meet. All along the practice sessions, I was very nervous, but did not want to lose the opportunity again. I was thrilled when the D-Day arrived and was able to give the commentary. It was then, Swami, that I realized, after 3 years, you granted me my desire and infused me with not just courage, but also the understanding that God's delays are never His denials.
Even as a little child, I was taught to ask no one else except you, Swami, for whatever I wanted. And ask I did, but for trifles and temporary joys. Today, I realize the wastefulness of all that I had asked. And Swami, so patiently, you have fulfilled all my needs. I am here today asking yet for another, but this time for the timeless gift of your friendship. Dear Lord, please listen when I pray and give me the boon of thy divine companionship throughout my life.
Dearest Swami, I had always wondered, where do the stars get their brightness from? I earnestly gazed at the stars for hours together and asked myself, why don't the stars fall down? The answer I received was that the stars are a part of the sky and so are inseparable from the sky. And Swami, you are that very sky with bountiful brightness, and anyone who chooses to reside in you never loses their brightness. Make us those stars that glitter in the expansive bosom of your love, like the stars that never worry about falling off the sky. Let us never worry about falling out from your nearness and dearness. Let us never be separated from you, Swami.
था
To pick me up from my LKG class, I started hopping home from school. I was all of 4 years of age, and chasing birds and butterflies was my favorite pastime. Unmindful of the monstrous jeep that was moving menacingly towards me, I was busy imitating a cuckoo bird when the screeching sound of the brakes alerted me. I looked frightfully around at the crowd of people staring at me. It took a while for me to realize that my foot was right under the wheel of that jeep. Even the slightest movement would cause an accident. Swami, just like you halted the wheel and removed it from my path, I pray to you, dear Lord, that you always ward off all my difficulties in my life, preventing them from even touching me.
When I first heard the story of Prahalada from my Balvikas teacher, I began to wonder what would that occasion be when I needed to call the Lord. Then I decided that I would call on to him to help me with my homework. Little did I know that one day the Lord would come to save my life even before I would call out to him. We had a cold storage room in which my father, a fruit vendor, used to store the fruits. As a little girl, I used to hop around the place, curious why bananas needed the AC, but we at home didn't have AC. So, one day, I strayed into the open cold storage room. My father didn't notice me, and after he piled the fruits inside, he locked the door with me still inside the room. After a while, I started feeling uncomfortable and began to cry. My uncle, who was passing by, heard the sobs from within the room and opened the door. He found me weeping inside and quickly picked me up. Everyone cried, but felt relieved that I was unharmed. Dearest Lord, such was your love that you didn't even wait to be called. You came because you love. Let me never forget the many, many times you came to me, even when uncalled. Let me always be ever grateful, more for things I don't understand than for those I do.
Dearest Swami, you left your physical body and I didn't get a chance to see you. The only memory I have is of seeing you on television. When I joined Srimati Eswaramma High School, I developed a wish to see you and talk with you. This wish of mine grew into an overwhelming desire in my 9th. From then, I had many dreams of you, playing with me, laughing and talking with me. Swami, now I don't feel unlucky anymore because when I yearn for you, I feel your presence in my life in many subtle ways.
Swami, it would have been an unimaginable scenario without you in my life. I was a happy butterfly in the Sai garden until life took its turn. In my 5th class, my mother's health worried me. Doctors gave us a report saying that she had a problem in her lower back and an operation was a must. But the success rate of the operation was like a flip of a coin. This took a lot of time for a little one like me to accept it. I could not understand the enormity of the situation, but all I understood was that my mother was in a bad place. Tears rolled down my cheeks. My teacher noticed it and asked me to write a letter to you and allowed me to place it at your sannidhi. I still remember I was left home with my sister when a call came from my father. He told us that the operation was successful and my mother was fine. Dearest Lord, you heard my prayers and gave me my mother. Today, my life is enriched by your love.
As a baby of 12 months, I was brought to Mandir for blessings. My mother prayed anxiously that you bless me with the rice grains that she had carefully arranged. My mother tells me that you looked at me from a distance and slowly came up to me. There was an unmistakable smile on your lips. You gracefully walked up to me and blessed me with the grains. With a smile still on your lips, you said, Bangaru. That was enough to spill out joy all around. Swami, that little girl is now in 10th. I pray that I always remain your Bangaru.
One day in class, ma'am asked us how many of us had seen Swami in person. Except 2 or 3 girls, none of us had seen Swami. The conversation about Swami ended in the class, but the thought that I was so unfortunate haunted me the whole day. That very night, Swami appeared in my dream, in which I was sitting in the Mandir and Swami was giving his blessings to everyone. Even I was able to get his divine blessings. I was so thrilled that I couldn't take my eyes off his beautiful form. He chose to grant me his darshan. I believe that when the desire for God overwhelms us, then Swami chooses to grace us. So, when we desire for God, we should make it an all-consuming desire, such that our mind is occupied with no other thought. Thank you, dearest Swami, for making me understand this.
My dear Mother Sai, it was towards the end of my 8th standard that our lives were hard hit by the pandemic. I was heartbroken listening to the news about the closure of our school. I could not digest the fact that I would not be able to do anything for you in the final years of my school life as your student. It was then, Swami, all around this encircling gloom came the joyous news of the school's reopening. Then, the wish of the gratitude program became a strong prayer. Today is an answer to all our prayers. This is a moment when we realize that gratitude is an endless feeling. It has a start, but not an end.
Shri Sai Ram. We offer our most loving and humble salutations at the lotus feet of our dearest Lord. As we celebrate 97 years of selfless love embodied in the life and message of our Bhagwan, we, your class 10 boys of Srimati Eswaramma High School, present before you, Swami, through a colorful and lively offering that unravels the various facets of faith and surrender implicit in true love.
Yours, O Lord, is the most compassionate and beautiful form that moves in front of our eyes. You are the love that responds to every call of ours. You are our life. You are our everything.
కనుల ముందర కదలియాడే కరుణ రూపము నీవు, నిలచినందని పలుకరించే ప్రేమ భావము నీవు. నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం. వీరుల తరువుల తాకి గలగల అరుణగులము మేము, అరుణ కిరణపు కాంతి మిలమిల మెరియు కడలివి నీవు, మెరియు కడలివి నీవు. నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం. ఎల్ల వేళల మధువు కొరకై మెదగు భ్రమరము మేము, ప్రేమ మధువును నిండి ఉన్న హృదయ కమలము నీవు, హృదయ కమలము నీవు. నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం. కనుల ముందర కదలియాడే కరుణ రూపము నీవు, నిలచినందని పలుకరించే ప్రేమ భావము నీవు. నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే మా సర్వం, నీవే మా ప్రాణం, నీవే
When God becomes our guru, guardian, and guide, there's no looking back. It becomes the zenith of holistic learning. Srimati Eswaramma High School is a school that not only educates but elevates. Let us now see how this happens in the life of every student.
Hey Santosh, what are you doing there? Everyone has left. Time to go home. Santosh, what happened?
Nothing, Mohan. I was thinking how soon our school life got over. In a few weeks, we have to leave this great place and go somewhere. I was looking at our school, which has been to us a mother, a father, a friend, and a teacher.
True, Santosh. I wish we could stay here a couple of years more.
I want to run to Mandir, catch hold of Swami's feet, and pray to him to open 2 more classes here for us to stay with him 2 more years.
But you know, my friend, that cannot be. Come, let's go home.
Mohan, I was just asking myself what exactly we have learned in these many years here except the subjects.
You know what, Santosh? An uncle, my father's friend, came to our house last week. He asked me just this question. Son, what have you learnt in the school that will be useful all your life?
What did you say?
Well, I didn't know the answer. I had never thought of it. Come, let's walk home and talk.
Once last year, I met a senior boy who studied here and now doing his medicine at Vijayawada.
Are you talking about Brother Vinay?
Yes.
I know him very well.
He told me when he joined a secondary school at Vijayawada and when his classmates came to know he was studying here, they asked almost the same question to him. Hey Sai Baba boy, what has your Sai Baba taught you?
What did he say?
Of course, he said a few things he had learnt here, but he told me he was not satisfied.
Santosh, now I suddenly remember an incident that happened years ago when I was in class 6.
Oh God, it's so dusty. Let me clean it.
Hey Krishna, what are you doing?
Just cleaning the chair and table.
But why?
It is dusty. When ma'am sits on the chair, her sari will be spoiled.
But why are you doing it?
Why not? Ma'am is doing so much for us. She is teaching us. She loves us like a mother. Takes extra classes when we don't understand the subject. Shouldn't we have a little gratitude for her?
That was very beautiful. Something like this happened to me also. You know, We were having online classes for more than 2 years now. We have had plenty of time at home, but I liked to spend most of the time playing with friends or video games. I never thought of helping my parents at home.
Me too.
Once, my Nana fell sick. My Amma is a primary school teacher, so she had to leave Nana at home and go to school. She told me I should stay home and look after him, but I would not care. I used to go out to play. One day, when I entered the house around 3 p.m., I found my Nana.
Santosh.
Nana. Why are you getting up? You know you're not well.
What to do, son? I was thirsty and called out to you. But you are not home, as always.
Sorry, Nana. Now I will not go anywhere. I will sit by you and look after you.
It's okay, my son.
After that, I sat by his bed and served him. In 2 days, he was all right. He was very happy with me. And something great happened to me that day.
Something great? What happened?
I usually light a lamp and agarbatti in our home shrine in the morning. Then I sit there and chant some mantra. That day, when I was getting up after chanting Purusha Suktam, I looked at Swami's picture and felt he was smiling at me and blessing me. I tell you, Mohan, my eyes were filled with tears of gratitude. After that, I was a changed person.
Yes, Swami always asks us to be grateful to our parents who sacrificed so much for us. Do you remember once we went to Amagondapalam for distribution of food and clothes there?
Oh yes, it was not part of the general Gram Seva program. It was our own.
True, we collected the yellow rice we used in our weekly Ashtotra Puja in a class. Our mothers cooked them into delicious prasad. We collected some clothes for children and went to Amagondapalam to distribute them among the villagers there.
And when they heard children from Eswaramma school would come with prasad, oh, can you describe their joy and happiness? We were not schoolboys. We were known as Swami's boys. Isn't that great?
Oh yes.
Jai Jai Sai Ram.
సాయే రామరాజ్యమని ప్రేమ జ్యోతి వెలిగించాడు.
సాయి ప్రేమ జ్యోతి వెలిగించాడు.
సేవను మించిన సాధన లేదని శంఖారావం చేశాడు. గ్రామ సేవయే రామ సేవయని ఆచరించి చూపించాడు.
ఆచరించి చూపించాడు.
చల్లని ఒడిలో దీనుల చేర్చి తల్లి ప్రేమ అందించాడు.
చల్లని ఒడిలో దీనుల చేర్చి తల్లి ప్రేమ అందించాడు.
జై జై సాయిరామ్, 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 జై జై సాయిరామ్.
It was such an uplifting experience. I never knew there was such joy in giving something to others. But I had a very strange experience while returning from the village in my Nana's bike.
Strange experience? What?
I was pillion riding. While coming down the slopes, I was looking at both sides, to the trees, to the hills, and enjoying the gushing breeze. And suddenly, I felt Swami's presence all around me. He was smiling at me from the trees, from the hills, from the sky, from everywhere, as if he was very happy with our work. My heart was filled with gratitude for him, love for him.
Yes, Mohan. I too felt the joy of doing this service. For many days, we talked about it in our family. This gives the answer to the question you asked.
Which question and what answer?
In fact, answer to your uncle's question. Didn't he ask you what you have learned at school that would be useful all your life?
Yes, he did. Oh yes, Santosh. Now I understand. We have learned to show gratitude to our parents, to our teachers, in fact, to all, even the villagers, to be happy in life, even to nature, to hills and trees. You know, Santosh, that day when I felt Swami's presence everywhere, I felt like hugging every tree.
And one more thing, that joy I felt serving my Nana, you and I felt serving the village people, made Swami very happy. And you'll agree with me, my friend, our hearts were filled with love for him. Isn't that so?
Absolute. Swami responds to loving service with his love. And what can be more satisfying other than loving God and serving the needy?
So, when your uncle comes next time, your answer is ready.
Yes, haath mein kaam, dil mein Ram, as Swami says.
Swami, you are our friend. You are our very life. Let us spend every passing moment with you. Let all the words we hear be nothing but yours. Let all our thoughts be of you and our actions dedicated at your lotus feet. O Nestama, Priyamaina Bandhama, Premaku Rupama, Ma Andari Pranama.
ప్రియమైన బంధమా ప్రేమకు రూపమా అందరి ప్రాణమా ఓనేస్తమా ప్రియమైన బంధమా ప్రేమకు రూపమా అందరి ప్రాణమా ఓనేస్తమా గడిచే ప్రతి క్షణం నీతోనే గడపాలని ఏమో వినే పదాలన్నీ నీ మాటలే కావాలని గడిచే ప్రతి క్షణం నీతోనే గడపాలని ఏమో వినే పదాలన్నీ నీ మాటలే కావాలని ఆలోని తలపులన్నీ నీకు వివరించాలని క్రియలన్నీ కర్తకే అంకితం చెయ్యాలని వేచి ఉన్నాము ఈ రోజుకై ఓనేస్తమా ప్రియమైన బంధమా ప్రేమకు రూపమా అందరి ప్రాణమా ఓనేస్తమా జీవన వేణువులో మోహన రాగం పలికించి ప్రతి మనసులో నీ ప్రేమ సుధలు పొంగించి జీవన వేణువులో మోహన రాగం పలికించి ప్రతి మనసులో నీ ప్రేమ సుధలు పొంగించి ఆనందములో దివి భువి పులకించగా ఆనందములో దివి భువి పులకించగా మాటలాడవా మాటలాడవా ఓనేస్తమా ప్రియమైన బంధమా ప్రేమకు రూపమా అందరి ప్రాణమా ఓనేస్తమా ప్రియమైన బంధమా ప్రేమకు రూపమా అందరి ప్రాణమా ఓనేస్తమా
Swami, no words will suffice to describe and extol your bountiful grace and effulgence. We know for sure, Bhagwan, when we go out into the wide world, you are our only friend, our only guide in times of tough calls in life. You are our only silver lining in any dark cloud. On this memorable day, we express our gratitude for the boundless love you have been showering on us, Swami. You are and will always be there for us. You are our armor as we fight our battles. Your grace is our shield of protection. With you by our side, Swami, we know for sure that we will never be alone. We will ever be joyful.
We love you, Swami.
Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. 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 Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, 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 Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, 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 Jai Ganesha, Rakshama. Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Shri Ganesha, Pahimam. Parthishwara, Sathya, Saishwara. Parthishwara, Sathya, Saishwara. Parthishwara, Sathya, Saishwara. Parthishwara, Sathya, Saishwara. Daya karo Hari Narayana. Daya karo सत्य साईश्वरा
दया करो हरि नारायणा
दया करो साई नारायणा
श्री साई नारायणा साई भवसागरोद्धार भुवनावना शरणागत त्राण नारायणा दया करो हरि नारायणा श्री साई नारायणा साई श्री साई परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा
हरे साई 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 हरे 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 साई 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 हरे 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 साई 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 हरे 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 बाबा साई बाबा हरे हरे
हरे बाबा साई बाबा हरे हरे
हरे बाबा साई बाबा हरे हरे
बाबा साई बाबा हरे हरे
हरे साई 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 हरे हरे
हरे साई साई हरे हरे
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणम्
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणम्
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणम्
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणम्
कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं भजे
कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं भजे
कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं भजे
कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं भजे
श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं
श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं
श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं
श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं
सद्गुरुनायकं साईनाथं भजे
सद्गुरुनायकं साईरामं भजे
सद्गुरुनायकं साईनाथं भजे
सद्गुरुनायकं साईरामं भजे
हरे साई 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 हरे हरे
हरे साई 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 हरे हरे
हरे बाबा साई बाबा हरे हरे
हरे बाबा साई बाबा हरे हरे
हरे साई 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 हरे हरे
हरे साई साई हरे हरे
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणम्
अच्युतं केशवं रामनारायणम्
कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं भजे
कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं भजे
श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं
श्रीधरं माधवं गोपिकावल्लभं
सद्गुरुनायकं साईनाथं भजे Hare Hare. Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Sathya Sai Hare. Bhakta Jana Sanrashaka Bhakta Jana Sanrashaka Pati Maheshwara. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Shashivadana Shikara Sarva Pranapati Swami Sarva Pranapati. Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Apad Bandhava. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Mata Pita Gurudeva Mariyantayo Nive Swami Mariyantayo Nive. Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nagendra Shayana. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Omkara Rupa Ojasvi O Sai Mahadeva Satya Sai Mahadeva. Mangala Harati Anduko Mangala Harati Anduko Mandara Giridhare. Om Jai Jagadish Hare. Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Satgurudeva. Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Satgurudeva. Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Satgurudeva. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Invoking Bhagwan's divine blessings. Tomorrow's evening session in Sai Kulwant Hall will commence at 5 o'clock with Vedam chanting. At 5:30, the 10th and 12th standard girls from Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School, Prasanthi Nilayam, will be offering their gratitude to Bhagwan in the form of devotional songs interspersed with short speeches. The evening session in Sai Kulwant Hall will conclude with Bhajans and Mangalarti, followed by Bhagwan's Divya Darshan. Jai Sai Ram.
ఓం శ్రీ సాయిరామ్. స్వామివారి దివ్యానుగ్రహ ఆశీస్సులతో సాయి కుల్వంత్ సభా మండపంలో రేపటి సాయంకాల కార్యక్రమం 5 గంటలకు వేద పఠనంతో ప్రారంభమవుతుంది. 5:30 ప్రశాంతి నిలయంలో ఉన్నటువంటి శ్రీ సత్యసాయి హైయర్ సెకండరీ స్కూలుకు చెందిన 10వ మరియు 12వ తరగతి విద్యార్థినులు భక్తి గీతాలతో మరియు క్లుప్త ప్రసంగాలతో స్వామివారికి కృతజ్ఞతాపూర్వకంగా ఓ కార్యక్రమాన్ని సమర్పిస్తారు. రేపటి సాయంకాల కార్యక్రమం భజనతో కొనసాగి మంగళహారతితో ముగియను. అనంతరం స్వామివారి దివ్య దర్శనం. జై సాయిరామ్.
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। 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 ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय